Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Let's talk about this perception or this game of perception with the judge and worrying about what a judge thinks about you. So, there's one thing about having a perception and coming off in a certain way and making yourself look stupid or look bad because you might, let's say in a restraining order hearing, you go into court, you say, Your Honor, I just want to work stuff out with her. I just want to be civil with her. I just want to do that. And she's sitting there trying to distance herself from you and get a restraining order and say that you're a monster and a stalker. The perception that you show of yourself is that you're a stalker and a psycho. If you say, well, I want to work it out and I want to be civil, and you think you're doing something honorable and you're making yourself look good because you're saying, I want to be civil and cool. The perception is she doesn't want anything to do with you. And she may be lying. She may be saying that you committed domestic violence and you never did, and you're dangerous to your child and you're not. But there's still a game of perception you want to play. Like in a situation like that, I distanced myself. I did it in my court case. I said I could care less whether I talk to the mother ever again in my case. Or I care less whether I talk to the mother ever again, period. We can have a third party deliver the child. We only live 3 blocks away. I have roommates. She has roommates. I care less whether I talk to her ever again. That totally killed her whole narrative because she's trying to say I'm stalking her. I want to be around her, or I want to do this or that. That's a perception issue. But if you say, I'm worried about what the judge thinks, what if I go in there and I quote the law, or I act like an attorney, or I get on the aggressive and I attack the other person? First of all, think about, you're saying you're worried about what a judge thinks. Think about what a judge thinks. What is a judge's job to do? A judge applies, interprets the law, or applies the law. If you go in there and you talk about what the law says, then you're talking about what the judge is supposed to think. Why would you be afraid of what the judge thinks? It's only because we're paranoid, schizophrenic, scared little sissies who are worried that we come across aggressive. Like, we're so brainwashed to think you can never talk bad about a woman that we never blaspheme a woman in life, so that when we go to court, we think it's really bad to do it, and the attorneys do it, and we sabotage our own case because the woman might be the child abuser or the alienator or the brainwasher or mentally ill, or she's the domestic violence perpetrator. And the guys don't want to talk bad about a mom, so when she stabs you, you call the cops and they say, do you want to press charges? And you say no, like it's stupid jackass. And then next thing you know, you just empower that woman to say, I could do whatever I want. I can get away with practically murder. So I'm gonna press charges against him and lie about him. You're inviting this stuff. But when you come to court and you worry about what a judge thinks, oh, if I argue the law, that'll make me look bad. You're in a court of law. The judge used to be an attorney at law. He's supposed to interpret and apply the law. What the hell are you even thinking of? Where do you get that stupid asinine bullcrap from? Your peers, your friends, you're worried about whatever other people think about how you go to court and go rescue and fight for your kid? They don't have to live with your kid, or they don't have to live with the pain of not having a kid around. Why would you even listen to idiots like that who've never been to family court, who went to family court and got totally creamed and are giving you advice on how to deal with the family court now? I see that all the time. Somebody says, well, people were telling me this. What people? What experience do they have in family court? Oh, well, my friend who went through his divorce. How did his divorce turn out? Oh, he got creamed. He got like one visit, 1 day a month. Why would you listen to advice from a total loser? Are you kidding me? A total loser is saying you got to worry about what the judge thinks. So if that's his philosophy, and he went to court with that philosophy, and he got totally creamed, why would you listen to a damn thing that he says? Because we just want to, again, it comes back to just being a sissy. We want somebody to comfort us and somebody to say it's going to be okay. And as long as somebody gives us advice to be a sissy and to not fight that hard and to not have to exert that much energy and not risk stepping outside of our comfort zone and not risk, criticism and not go out there and confront a judge or confront somebody, as long as, see, what we're doing is looking for a justification for being a sissy. We're looking for justification. I don't want to fight in court. And all my friends are saying, don't fight that hard, be nice. And like, oh, that's so much more comfortable than fighting and standing up to criticism and being ridiculed, because that hurts my sissy little feelings. And my kid isn't as important to me as my comfort. So I'm going to go with that advice. And then you get royally screwed. And then You tell me what you did, and I'm like, well, why would you do that? Oh, well, people were telling me to do that. What people? Oh, people who lost in court were giving me advice, and I'm so smart, I followed losing advice. It really comes down to fear and comfort and laziness. That's why I call it what it is. That's the root of the problem, and people don't like that because I'm calling them out. Because you're a sellout to your own kid if you don't want to fight and exert energy to go rescue your kid. And I could say that because in face of fear and nervousness and being paranoid and being persecuted and outnumbered in court. See, I had my mind made up in court. There's my baby's mom, Sedaris Wright, her sister, Yvonne Wright, who's now a life coach. Coached her to fight against her baby's dad and then coached her to abandon her daughter. Her sister, Barbara Rydell Wright. Chemo Scott Evans. Some guy I was roommates with who wrote a declaration saying I should never be allowed around my kid. I have the document. I show it to people. It's online. His wife, Mary Beth Solscheid Evans, who works at Washington State Employees Credit Union. She rummaged through my bank account because I had an account there, totally separate from her working there. She rummaged through my bank account and was telling the court how much activity I had in the bank and stuff. And Washington State Employee Credit Union, they when I complained about that, they approved that. And then she comes to court trying to get a restraining order against me because I'm messing with her at her job when I complained about her rummaging through my bank account. Abelia Barraza. I forget the other co-worker of the mom's who, after 18 years of not knowing my daughter since she was a baby, a co-worker reached out to my daughter on Facebook and said, I can't wait to see you. Do you remember me? Bunch of weirdos. Anyway, so I'm outnumbered like 7-1 in court, and then there's the bailiff who give me attitude and the judge. I don't care what any of these idiots think. They're trying to destroy my life with my kid. I'm fighting for my kid. If I walk away and I have my kid and I have no friends, who cares? Why do you care about your reputation or your feelings or what anybody says about you or being outnumbered in court? Why do you care? Do you want your kid or not? So when you go to court and a judge is supposed to apply the law, if a judge goes outside of the law, the judge is not doing his job. So what you're saying is, I care about what the judge thinks outside of the law. If you go to court and you cite, like, let's say you're in California, you cite Troxel versus Granville, United States constitutional case law, and your rights. Your right to the fundamental fairness doctrine, your right to be heard. Your Honor, I demand my right to be heard under the fundamental fairness doctrine, which is above you because it's the United States Constitution and constitutional case law. California Family Code 3020B says it's the public policy of California to, accommodate or for parents to have frequent and ongoing contact with a child even after a breakup. All the science and the data says my child suffers without me. So we need to rescue the child from the mother's alienation and put everything back together. And the California says you gotta listen to every piece of evidence, including the factors in the law. If I go in there and state stuff that's consistent with the law, why would I worry about what the judge says? You got to be out of your freaking mind or a little punk sissy coward to say I'm afraid what the judge thinks if I go in there and tell the judge what the law says. And if the judge says, look, I just want to hear the facts of your case, don't tell me what the law says. I have a right to argue my case. I have a right to present the law. The Court of Appeals reverses judges all the time. So I'm making sure that the court is adhering to the law. And I just have a fundamental fairness doctrine to speak my piece and to be heard. A right to notice of a hearing and a right to be heard. So I can tell you whatever, if I'm wrong about the law, go ahead and state it on the record. But I have a right to state it. You can't shut me down and block my access. If you're in a football game and somebody steps out of bounds and the ref misses it and they call the touchdown, would you say, oh, let's ask the NFL coach? Would they say, hey, let's throw in the flag so we can ask for instant replay so they can go back and look at it? Or would you worry about what the feelings of the referee is? Or if you're playing baseball and somebody missed the base and you threw them out and they missed the base, they should be called out. And the umpire calls them safe, or the first baseman calls them, ref calls them safe. I forget what they called in the field. They call them safe. Would you say, you know what, I want to complain about that, they got the call wrong, but I'm worried about what his feelings are? No, you're complaining about him missing the call because the rules are if they miss the base, then they're out. So why you don't worry about it in sports? You don't worry about somebody, if a cop comes to your door and you say, hey, look, you need a warrant to come into my home. You don't worry about the police officer's feelings. You worry about your constitutional right and the sanctity of your home. Why would you care about what a judge thinks outside of the law? They're stepping outside of the law and they're doing it wrong. Stop being a punk ass bitch and just and worrying about what a judge says if you're consistent with what the law says.